In case you don't remember, I some months ago made a video of the KTC H27T22, 27 inches 1440p 165Hz IPS, and the KTC M20P20 Pro, 27 inches 4K 160Hz mini LED IPS. And today we have once again something from KTC, an OLED monitor. A 27 inches 1440p 240Hz OLED monitor with a response time of 0.03 milliseconds gray to gray. And I have to tell you, it feels good. KTC is not new and their company was founded in 1995, but before they were working solely as OEM manufacturers, meaning that they were only selling the display panels to other monitor manufacturers. And it was in 2021 that KTC released their gaming brand called KTC Gaming that has been getting popular over the years, mostly for their good price-performance products. The KTC G27P6 features an LG 240Hz 1440p OLED panel that supports FreeSync and G-Sync, the most basic HDR10, and sells at around $900, but most times it can actually be found with a discount at $800, making it one of the most affordable OLED monitors in the market. So let's see what we get with it. In the box we have assembling instructions and calibration tests, the ARM base, the ARM itself, the power adapter with the obvious power cord included, and a box of cables that brings a USB Type-C, an HDMI cable, a DisplayPort cable, and these screws, which once again I don't know what they're for. Then you remove the foam and you have the panel inside. In terms of assembling, the process was quite easy. The monitor brings a V-shaped base with an inbuilt screw that you only need to attach and rotate to the other part of the arm to complete it. You then attach it to the monitor with a sliding mechanism that's very solid and will lock the monitor to its place, and this makes the whole process screwless, with no need for screwdrivers or any kind of additional tools, which is always a plus. In terms of design, the monitor features a sleek one using black, grey and purple colors. Black for the panel itself, the backside where the speakers are, and a little hinge in the arm. Purple for the cable clip and button, and grey for almost everything else, with some letters saying G27 and the RGB illuminated KTC logo. Overall, the monitor feels very minimalistic, with a very slim panel that I personally like a lot. And of course the narrow bezels that allow a better immersion and, well, make it look really good. In terms of ergonomics, the monitor can be tilted from -5 to 20 degrees, swiveled by 15 degrees for each side and pivoted by 90 degrees in each direction as well. The total height adjustment range is 11 cm, with a minimum distance from the table bottom to the bezel being around 8 cm. As for the connections, this monitor delivers a vast array of them, with one 3.5mm audio jack, 2 HDMI ports, one DisplayPort, one USB Type-C, one USB Type-B, 2 USB Type-A, and the last one is the power adapter connection. It is worth noting though that if you want to make full use of what the monitor can offer, you need to use DisplayPort, as it is the only connection that will deliver the full 1440p 240Hz HDR experience. And this monitor also brings some connection perks or features that I actually find myself using quite a lot. One of them is the reverse charging with 65 watts of power delivery, meaning that you can charge your smartphone, tablet, or even your wireless mouse and keyboard setups through the monitor. And then there's KVM switching, which is especially handy for me. With KVM switching, you can simply connect your mouse and keyboard to the monitor and use them with any computer your monitor is connected to. In my case, I have two computers connected to this monitor, and instead of constantly changing the mouse and keyboard in between them, I can simply connect them to the monitor and, well, they will work with the computer that the monitor is currently connected to, which is a plus, a very good plus in my book. And to end the main features part, we have the speakers, which are much, but much better than the ones presented on the KTC M27P20 Pro, just much better in terms of volume and audio quality, being able to deliver a very enjoyable experience for the majority of users. Let's hear a bit. And the only downside of these is their positioning. Since they're on the sides instead of being in the bottom, or if possible in the front, you need to have the monitor close to the wall for the sound to bounce back and feel kind of close. Otherwise it will sound kind of distant, as the sound is going mostly to the sides instead of going right at you. And last but not least, it is important to note that this monitor does not need active cooling. I don't know if you know this, but most OLED monitors feature active cooling, and you will notice some fan noise from time to time as the monitor tries to cool off. Something that won't happen here because the KTC G27P6 features passive cooling. As for the image quality, almost every single OLED monitor looks amazing, and the KTC G27P6 is not different and looks great out of the box, meaning that you don't have to touch anything unless you want to. With its LG 1440p 10-bit OLED panel offering extremely rich colors and an almost perfect contrast ratio, since each pixel can be turned off individually, leading to an exceptional experience for gaming and media consumption. And even more for people that like to play in the dark, as you won't be presented with any kind of panel glow as it happens with most IPS monitors. And to make it better, you have an ultra-fast 240Hz refresh rate panel, which will allow you to enjoy your games on another level. With the lowest amount of input latency and the highest amount of data for games like Counter-Strike 2, Valorant, League of Legends and some others. And I do have to say that playing at 240Hz with no ghosting and almost no input latency is just awesome, and will definitely be mind-blowing for people coming from lower refresh rate LCD panels. One thing that I do not like though is the inability to disable the auto brightness limiter, meaning that even if you choose a certain amount of brightness manually, the brightness will just keep changing depending on the content being currently displayed. And while it may work very well in most games or with most games, it leaves a lot to be desired for normal Windows workflow, as the monitor will get brighter in some areas compared to others, almost looking like the local dimming feature presented in mini LED monitors such as the KTC M27P20 Pro. So I asked KTC about it, and they just sent me a newer US firmware and told me to enable the reading mode preset. And that's completely fine for me. The thing is, when you go into that mode, the ABL gets almost non-existent, it is still there though, but the base brightness goes down by a lot, meaning that I now need to use the brightness level at 95 or higher, while before I would simply leave it at the stock 50. And I believe this is made in order to not cause any kind of display burn-in by limiting the max constant brightness. And for me the brightness is sufficient, as I still prefer to use the monitor in SDR mode, as the picture quality is already top notch, but for people using HDR a lot, they might want to use the normal mode, as the HDR usability depends a lot on the brightness level to work properly. I just think KTC should offer you the option to have ABL on or off, as it would make things much simpler. To finalize, the KTC OSD is not bad by any means, and while the other KTC monitors I have present a little OSD delay, the KTC G27P6 OSD is much more responsive, and the overall experience feels better due to that. The OSD offers you a lot of options, from the usual presets, the color, brightness and contrast options alongside some others, the gaming related features like adaptive sync, crosshairs, FPS counters, etc. And of course, since this is OLED, you have two particular options related to that. The OLED pixel refresher that will refresh the pixels in order to avoid OLED burn-in, which is something that the monitor does alone from time to time, and the OLED expert that will tune your OLED panel to deliver the best image clarity possible. Generally, the OSD offers a vast majority of options, including for example the SC that allows you to go up to 1440p 240Hz with 12-bit color depth, and being sincere, the only flaw that I found here is the positioning of the OSD control button. If possible, I would like to have it a bit lower, as I find myself twisting my wrist quite a lot trying to reach it, which sincerely is not optimal in my point of view. There's also another flaw that has nothing absolutely to do with this monitor in particular, which is text clarity. One thing that you'll easily notice as soon as you go to an OLED monitor with Windows is the lack of text clarity. And this happens due to the OLED subpixel layout. OLED panels feature a different pixel layout from the traditional LCD panels, and sadly Microsoft hasn't updated their ClearType software yet. And since ClearType doesn't know how to handle those new subpixel formats properly, the text will sometimes look really bad, and you'll need to disable ClearType and use some third-party software to be able to, well, having it look at least decent. So for gaming and content consumption, these monitors, these OLED monitors, are the best you can get. But in terms of usability in Windows operative systems, well, they're still lacking a bit versus the traditional LCD ones. And while this is obviously not an OLED problem, most likely a Windows problem, the most used operative systems in the world are Windows 7, 10 and 11. So I kind of felt like I needed to point this out. Still, if you don't mind the usual $800 price tag and you're looking for a 1440p monitor with 240Hz refresh rate, outstanding response times and incredible contrast and color accuracy, there's absolutely no reason to not buy the KTC G27P6, since it will deliver in all those points, while also featuring a passive cooling solution, and believe me, I myself got so used to 240Hz that anything below 160 now feels like a PowerPoint presentation. And I use this one mostly for some game testing and to play some Raid Shadow Legends, Palworld and some other games that benefit from high refresh rates. And once you get used to it, it is really hard to get back. I mean, I have a 34 inches 1440p ultra-wide panel with 160Hz and it is a very good IPS panel. But as soon as I go from this panel, this OLED panel, to that one, and once again that one is a very good IPS panel, I can definitely notice the difference. The colors feel kind of dull and I feel like I'm missing something, because I am. High contrast ratios and, well, 80 Hz of refresh rate. So if you're going from a regular $200 or $300 monitor to this one, it will be a mind-blowing experience for sure. And if you're like me and you really like tech, well, you'll be obviously kind of sucked in into the 240Hz experience for quite some time, and you'll just try all your games with that refresh rate to see how much difference it makes compared to the previous monitor that you have. And well guys, I believe that's all for today's video. I want to thank you very much for watching and thank KTC as well for sending the monitor, the G27P6. Once again, it's an excellent monitor really, and I've been using it for quite some time, as I told you before, to use while playing Raid Shadow Legends, which at 240Hz look amazing as well, looks amazing definitely. And I've been using the monitor very much for almost everything I've been experienced with it to make this video as well, and just because I enjoy it. In terms of looks, it looks great, the audio quality is also nice, and the price point compared to other price points that we've been seeing in terms of OLED panels is actually pretty good, because you can find OLED monitors at the $800 price tag, around that. For example, we have some of them by other brands, but once again, one of the things that I don't like is the active cooling. I don't want to hear fans inside my monitor, and that's one of the things that I like with this one. It's just passive cooling and it looks great. In my opinion, that's one of the best features that I can get. Then we have the KVM switching, reverse charging. I can definitely recommend this monitor, hands down. And once again guys, that's all for this video. Leave your comment in the comment section if you have any doubts and I'll answer as soon as possible, as usual. And yeah, I guess that's all for this video. See you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching and ciao.